So last week I put out a video about casualisation killing games, inspired by a debate I saw on X between Reeve and Chris. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And to Chris's credit, he came back after it went live, clarified his position, said he wasn't talking about PvP in general killing games, just extraction shooters specifically, and even admitted that for other genres like Gears of War, he'd have opposite opinion. Fair play, mate. And what a good sport. But then he asked a follow-up question that I haven't been able to stop thinking about since. He asked why extraction shooters seem to be a genre where fanbases cannibalise each other. Marathon's already bolting PvE-only lobbies. And one of the biggest debates in Ark Raiders is about ratting. And that question opened the door into something much bigger than just extraction shooters. Alright, you lot. So Chris is right that extraction shooters have a cannibalisation problem. And it's actually quite simple when you break it down. Extraction shooters demand more from you than any other multiplayer genre. You're not just loading in for a quick 10-minute match and moving on. You're grinding gear, learning maps, memorising AI spawn patterns, planning extraction routes, managing inventory, building loadouts over hours and hours of gameplay. It's a massive time investment. Most players will only commit to one extraction shooter at a time because there aren't enough hours in a day to maintain progress in two. So when a new extraction shooter launches, it's not pulling from a general FPS audience like a new Battle Royale or Arena shooter would. It's pulling directly from people already playing another extraction shooter. Tarkov players looked at Ark Raiders. Ark Raiders players looked at Marathon. Marathon tried to pull from both and failed. It's a finite pool of players who enjoy that specific gameplay loop, and every new entry is fighting over that same crowd rather than growing it. And that's partly the reason Marathon sat at 10k concurrent 3 months in, while Ark Raiders is still pulling over 65k 7 months later. Once players commit to one, they're not leaving unless you give them a seriously good reason to. But it's not just extraction shooters. It's an industry-wide disease that's been rotting through AAA gaming for years. Everyone's chasing the same trends. Open world, live service, battle royale, whatever sold last year. Every major publisher wants their version of it. And what they produce is copy-paste slop with a different logo on it. They're not building original games. They're building responses to other people's games. Someone sees Fortnite making billions and suddenly every boardroom on planet is screaming, "We need a battle royale." Someone sees Escape from Tarkov pulling dedicated audience and suddenly every studio is pitching an extraction shooter. And cause they're chasing trends instead of innovating, not the produce feels fresh. Just feels like a worse version of something that already exists. So of course nobody's interested. Why would I leave a game I already love to play a knockoff version of it with a bigger budget and less soul? So then comes panic phase. Game's been launched. Nobody cares because it's a copy. So studios start bolting on features nobody asked for. Their special sauce. Some new mechanic or gimmick that's supposed to differentiate them from competition, but all it really does is just annoys everyone who were already playing. And when they see that's not working, they start changing core mechanics, removing features that small core player base they had loved, sanding edges off to bring in more casuals. And before you know it, you got a game that doesn't appeal to anyone. It's not original enough for new players. It's no longer deep enough for core players. And it's not similar enough to what it was supposed to compete with for those players either. So nobody's interested. And another live service gets shut down. And you can see this entire cycle play out in slow motion just by looking at last 7 years of Call of Duty. Because COD is the case study for how to systematically destroy a franchise by chasing casuals and alienating everyone who built it. It started about 2019 onwards. Modern Warfare 2019 were a reset. It were kinda still a fantastic game, brought a lot of lapsed players back. Then Warzone launched, free to play. 150 million players, biggest thing in gaming. And from that moment, every single decision Activision made were designed to chase that casual Warzone audience at expense of core multiplayer fans. SBMM got cranked to suffocating levels. Map design started prioritising safe spaces for new players over competitive flow. Each new entry feeling less finished than last. I don't need to tell you Vanguard were a disaster. Modern Warfare 3 2023 were just recycling content. And while all this were happening, they were Fortniteifying the entire franchise with cosmetic crossovers that make game look like a fucking cartoon. Those stupid fucking operator skins no one asked for. Nicki Minaj, Snoop Dogg, Beavis and Butthead, Family Guy, Squid Game, Teenage Mutant Ninja fucking Turtles. You're supposed to be playing a military shooter and there's a bloke running around Verdansk dressed as Peter fucking Griffin. Battlefield 6's design director were asked about it and literally said, I don't think it needs Nicki Minaj. Let's keep it real, keep it grounded. Even War Dog's developer took a shot, posting, no battle pass, no pay to win, no Nicki Minaj skins, no bullshit. When your competitors are using your monetization strategy as a punchline, you've lost fucking plot, mate. And then Black Ops 7 happened. This is where it all comes home to roost. Black Ops 7 sold 401,000 copies on Steam in its first 26 days. That's an 82% drop from Black Ops 6, which sold 2.3 million in the same period. Daily active users across entire COD franchise dropped from 36 million in December 2024 to 18 million by November 2025. That's half the player base gone in under a year. Steam hit an all-time low of 52,632 concurrent players across Black Ops 7, Black Ops 6 and Warzone combined. That's 3 games, totaling less than what Ark Raiders pulls on its own. BO7's launch got eaten alive because Ark Raiders had dropped 2 weeks earlier and Battlefield 6 were at that point making a genuine case for it being a better military shooter. Analysts called it out directly. COD were underperforming because of franchise burnout, creative decisions that alienated fans, AI-generated content that felt cheap, a co-op campaign that got hammered in reviews, and years of chasing casual trends that stripped franchise of its identity completely. So what did Activision do? They announced they're moving away from back-to-back releases, which were a great move, but it's not fixing problem. Problem isn't how you release games. It's that you've spent years gutting everything that made Call of Duty what it was, chasing an audience that were never loyal to you. And now you've got no left. OG player base is gone because you alienated them with SBMM, Fortnite skins, and stripped back content. New fans you chase are gone because casuals don't stick around. And little Timmy, all he's doing is playing Warzone because it's free. And his parents aren't buying him a new COD every year when there's free-to-play options everywhere. Well done, you managed to alienate literally everyone. If you want a breakout game, you need something unique and original. Stop copying others and chasing trends and start making games. I also want to quickly address this big celebration among Brainrot crews since PlayStation showed that 4.95 million people launched Call of Duty in a week on their platform. Despite what Charlie Intel said on his post, that number is spread across both PS5 and PS4, not just PS5. And since Battlefield 6 in on PS4, number were bound to be lower in comparison. We also know Call of Duty generally shows as one of the top 5 games on PlayStation due to kids playing free-tier Warzone. So basically, 3 COD games and 1 launcher with numbers padded by kids playing free-tier is not when Brainrot masses thought it was. They pointed to it screaming about Steam numbers meaning notes, conveniently ignoring facts. Not to mention it clocks who launched COD Hub. It doesn't show who played what, if out at all. So I'm sorry to tell you, kiddo, that 4.95 million means notes. And before anyone tries to disprove it's on both platforms, Call of Duty on PlayStation was sold as cross-gen bundles, meaning they track both platforms, not just one game. Call of Duty 2026 will be first in over 13 years as single-gen, since it'll only be on PS5, not PS4. So shove that in your pipe. But I digress. Let's get back to what Chris were talking about, since he brought up ratting on Ark Raiders as well. And this is where I have a tech that's probably going to piss a whole bunch of you off. Ratting, camping, whatever you want to call it. How about we call it what it actually is? an ambush. It's a real-life military tactic that's been used since warfare existed. You find a position or advantage. You wait for a target to walk into it, and you strike when they're vulnerable. It's not cheap or skillless. It's a strategy. And in a game like Ark Raiders, where you're risking real gear with real consequences, choosing when and where to engage is literally one of the most important skills you can develop. Some bloke sitting on an extraction point with a free loadout waiting for you to walk through the door into rat is a threat you should have anticipated. And let's really light a fire under every skill-obsessed player who's ever screamed about ratters and campers in a chat. You lot, and I mean this with all love in me heart, are some of the biggest hypocrites in gaming. 'Cause majority of you will sit there for hours praising the game's realistic gunplay. You'll rave about bullet drop physics, cream yourself over weapon recoil patterns and tactical movement systems, post clips of yourself doing something unrealistic like sliding around corners and hitting headshots and caption it, "This game feels so realistic." And then, when someone uses an actual real-world military tactic against you, you lose your absolute fucking shit. Camping's for noobs. Ratting takes no skill. That's not how you're supposed to play. Mate, you just spent 20 minutes telling everyone how realistic this game is while sly cancelling on everyone. You wanted realism? Congratulations, you fucking got it. 'Cause ambushers are realistic. They're holding a position, waiting for their enemy to make a mistake. And every military force in history has used these tactics 'cause they work. You don't get to praise a game's authenticity and then have a meltdown when someone plays it authentically, all while pulling off unrealistic moves. And look here, when you say ratting and camping takes no skill, are you sure about that? 'Cause I've seen full teams set up an ambush and still get wiped 'cause they positioned badly, engaged too early, or didn't account for flanking routes. Just sitting in a corner don't guarantee you a kill. You need to pick right position. You need to time your engagement. You need to manage your angles. And if you fuck any of that up, you're dead. And they're extracting with a story about how the art played a camper. So here's my question to every player who screams about these players. If it's so skillless, why does it keep working on you? 'Cause if you were truly aware of your surroundings, if you were checking your corners, clearing your flanks, moving tactically instead of sprinting through doorways like you're invincible, if you were truly as skilled as you think you are, that ambush won't get drop on you. So maybe, just maybe, your demanding developers remove these playstyles is literally asking for casualisation. You're begging studios to sand off another edge, remove another layer of depth and strategy to protect you from losing, like cowards you really are. Which is exactly how games get hollowed out and killed, innit? You're asking for things that destroy your favourite games and you don't even realise it. Now, I want to hear from you lot on this one, especially anyone who disagrees. 'Cause I know ratting and camping is a spicy topic, and I'm genuinely curious how many of you can argue against that realism point without proving it at the same time. And if you like this video, YouTube says you'll like this and next. So check that out, and I'll see you there, you magnificent.